All right. You guys good?
I think so. Yeah. Do we have to do that first?
Yeah, you have to do that.
No, my arm doesn't move that way.
Oh, that's right. I'll do it for you. You does
I was going to say.
It's time for Bourbon with Friends, the bourbon podcast that never takes itself too seriously. Pull up a chair, grab a glass, and remember, a bourbon with friends can change the world. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bourbon with Friends. Myself, Adrian, and Martin are here to talk about whiskeys from around the world and how a bourbon with friends can change the world. How was your guys' holiday, first and foremost, since we took 2 weeks off to enjoy it? And how are you guys doing currently?
Good. It was good, man. Busy, as it always is. If I sound fucking like I sound, it's because I'm sick. So I unfortunately at the end of the holiday season ran myself into a fucking wall. So now I'm just sick as hell. So that's why I sound different for people who are listening. But no, it's really good. I got to actually see Adrian over the holidays. We met up at
We did.
Yeah, we got to meet up at Journeyman Distillery in Three Oaks, Michigan. Then we went to a place called Beer Church and took a bunch of moonshine shots, which was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
From what I remember. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Brian, how about you?
That was good. Just spent time with my family, relaxed, and was recovering from that shoulder surgery still. So happy to be have a little bit more motion, but
yeah,
just have to figure it out.
And Adrian, you've had a unique start to the year. Want to tell everybody what you're currently taking part in?
Dry January.
Dry January.
Yeah.
So you'll see a different Adrian tonight. I'm just joking.
Yeah, it might be a little different since I'm not drinking any alcohol. I'm not sure. It should be fine.
It'll be fine.
Less dancing maybe, but yeah, it'll be it'll be fine.
Yeah, a little less red in the cheeks, maybe.
Yeah.
It's probably a big one. Yeah.
Will you get flushed when you drink?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, she does. Oh, yeah.
Really? Why have I never noticed
here, that? Right here.
It's because you're normally drunk with her.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
True.
Like I got drunk
story.
heat. I get drunk heat vision. I don't see certain things. That's like when the predator gets drunk.
Yeah. Just to clarify,
talk about it.
I have tried a bunch of whiskeys prior to knowing what we had upcoming. So I don't want people to think that I haven't legitimately tried their whiskeys, because I have.
Oh yeah, well absolutely.
Can you say you were racing towards the finish line for that one?
Yeah, just racing. I like to place first.
Brian,
first you last.
but before we get into it, before we do get into our guests, because I saw where you're going with that, Brian, that was really good. But
that was terrible for me.
But I do want to talk a little. How's it feeling doing Dry January? Like, how's your 5 or 6 days in? So how are you feeling?
Well, I work at a distillery, obviously, it was a little rough a couple times. You want to drink a cocktail while you're there, or but other than that, it's been fine. Yeah. So
I think
it'll be fine. Well, the hardest thing is going to be my birthday. My birthday is also in January.
That is true. You do have a birthday in January.
Yeah. Come on, February 1st.
Yeah, but you understand that it's not like you can't take the whole month off and then go hard as fuck as soon as you get back into it. That defeats the purpose.
I would agree with that.
Because I've done that before. I did Sober October one time, and I took the whole month off, which was hard because my birthday was in October. This is a couple of years ago. And then November, because of the holidays, just went hard. And it pretty much probably negated everything I had done previous to that. But no, it's good. I think these are important to reset for a couple of things. One other thing that actually, Brian, you'll be kind of curious about this that we talked about the other day with her, is we're curious because, as we know, and anybody who listens to our show knows that Adrian and American single malts don't go together.
I know where you're going with this.
Brian and I have obviously been trying for a while. and not trying, but like showing her different things and hopefully opening up her mind to these. What somebody mentioned the other day, our good friend Germ mentioned this to her, was say, hey, when you come back, have the first whiskey you have be American single malt. So that way, maybe you can really see like how it affects your palate and how it hits your palate now that you've really reset it and coming on a fresh palate, not off of anything else. So I thought that's kind of an interesting point to kind of do. So I'm actually curious if you do that.
I like that.
Yeah, I definitely
I've got 3 or 4 back here samples that I'm gonna.
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of see how that is. Maybe you still don't vibe with it, but you know,
yeah, I don't. They're not terrible. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah. So anyways, so anyways, we're racing towards the finish line. Sorry.
We're trying to race towards the finish line.
We're trying to get somewhere. Woo!
Yeah. So why don't we, Brian, if you want, since you did that lead in, you can go ahead and bring our wonderful guests in today.
Well, let's introduce Mr. Mark Borchetta.
Sí, Borchetta, very good.
Yeah, see, I was right.
Italiano.
Yeah. No, my Italian
Lost you there.
I was probably going to add a ch to it. That's why I had him do
it. So. And then Devin Walden, their master distiller.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, you guys.
They're listening to your preamble. I feel like I should start with the F word.
Oh yeah, I'm horrible. You can say you can say it as much as you want.
Yeah.
There's gonna be 25 more. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's fine.
See?
Well, fuck, I don't cut. So
there you go.
No, there we go.
There you go.
Well, listen, it's great to be with you guys, and it's funny because yes, you did pronounce my name Borchetta correctly, but the family name is Borchetta here in America. I'm the only Borchetta, me and my son, so we actually say Borchetta bourbon.
Nice.
Borchetta.
There we go. Borchetta.
See, that's what I was saying too. So I Americanized it.
All good. Hey, as long as you're buying it and drinking it and we're winning awards, life is good. Call it whatever you want.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or bruschetta for all I care. No,
and then for everybody, we did just drop dropped their link, so please make sure you guys are going to check that out. Obviously, go check them out. So, all right. Well, Adrian, why don't you start this?
Let's get this party started.
Yeah.
So, Mark and Devin, we'd like to ask people to give a little bit of background on who they are, and so. It's kind of a double question. So I'm going to start with Mark. If you could just talk about a little bit about who you are and why you started Big Machine Distilling Company.
Who am I? You have to stop me because I will talk for hours, especially if it's about myself. Now, gosh, I've had a long history of different avenues of appreciation of finer things in life. Wanted to be into food and wine and spirits starting in my late teens, early 20s, and got an opportunity to work at one of the best restaurants in Hollywood when I was in film school at USC. And I found out that I had a consistent palate and recognizable palate. I'll say, I never like to say a good palate because it's so subjective. But I used to blind taste 61 Bordeaux's with guys, and I said, "Oh, well, there's going to be your Mr. Nobrion. I can taste the earthiness in the soil there, and I can get the Merlot from their, Chateau Palmer or blah blah blah." And so it would, I'd get big tips that way. I'd pay for my schooling, and so I didn't pursue that as a career so much because I went into producing and directing, but I did. Get my first introduction at that time, which was the early 90s, into these new things called small batch bourbons. And so they were coming out of Kentucky, and we were in Los Angeles there. And they were super cool. I liked them because we were single malt drinkers, although I also got into grappa because I really liked that. And I was drinking, fine Armagnacs and cognacs, etc. So I've always appreciated it. And kind of fast forwarded through a winding career of a lot of entertainment, advertising, marketing. And in 2015, 2016, around that time, I was kind of looking to make some changes in life. And my brother bought this distillery. And he said, "Hey, why don't you come run this thing?" And I said, "You're in Nashville?" I said, "I'm in Los Angeles. I'm going to Hawaii." I won't go in the other direction. I do not want to run the distillery. But by 2017, I came and did a meeting and liked the juice that was being produced. We had some interesting things that we were going to be pursuing. And so I took it over and fortunately found out that my palate still holds pretty true. Excuse me. Once we started bottling the bourbon about 5 years ago, I started tasting all the barrels and going through them and picking what would go into the bottles. And it was scary because you guys are a very persnickety lot, you bourbon appreciators. So, I knew what I liked. But then we also like something else that Brian really likes, Byron's brother. And that is racing. Only where Byron and Brian, the brothers, they like their motorcycle racing. We are four-wheelers, and we've been racing cars for over 50 years, my brother and I. And we still race today, not as often as we'd like, but we've never stopped. And we were heavily into the highest forms of racing. And IndyCar was always our first love. So when we decided to do this bourbon 4 or 5 years ago, and by the way, stop me when you get bored. And if your audience is yawning, I'll try to cut it short. But we said, hey, we're going to do this bourbon and we're going to put our last name on it. It's the first thing we've ever put our name on. And Indy cars were coming to race in downtown Nashville, and our distillery name, record label name, etc., Big Machine, was going to be the title sponsor on that race. And my brother goes, Mark, why don't we do that bourbon now that we've been talking about, that Kylie's wanted us to do? I said, let's do it. He said, let's tie it into racing. And we found a photo of Indy cars racing at the local fairgrounds speedway in 1911, which is the first year of the Indy 500. So as I try to navigate this backwards, so we decided to put a race car on top. And in honor of and respect to Blanton's, not stealing it, they've got their horses. We said, this is a cool thing. Let's do it. And probably where I really turned off a lot of the bourbon world is we were only making 1,000 bottles, and it's pretty pricey packaging with the box. And we tell a lot about our stories of racing and our connection to racing. So the night before we were releasing, the distributor goes, I need a price. Brian decided to come back. I think I bored him.
No, I had a dog that was barking in the background, and I need to put him outside, or I couldn't hear you talk over him barking.
Oh, got it. And I'm pretty loud too, so that's a loud barking dog.
Small dog.
So anyways, I was saying the night before I said, just put it out at $300 a bottle retail. And he goes, you're an idiot. I'm not going to do this. I said, okay, I've been called worse by better. But I said, just figure it out. Come on, we'll figure out how to sell it. And he took like 50 cases, and he hits me up the next day. He goes, you sold out in 2 hours. I said, okay, well, that's a first good sign. At least we paid for some packaging. But will people like it? And, we got mixed responses, of course, because it was a bold move. But we just, again, only 1,000 bottles are going to be made. But a lot of people started saying that they really liked it. So the next year came around, and we did another race car. And this time we put a car that we own, which is one of the Indy cars driven by Bobby Unser, designed by Dan Gurney. And it was a first car to go over 200 miles an hour on a closed course. And we said, let's put that car on there. And we were friends with Bobby Unser, the driver. And so we put that out there, and it still sold, and sold well. And then we said, okay, let's do a third year. And I said, Scott, call Mario Andretti. He's like, oh, come on. I said, come on, we're friends. Call him. He's one of the most iconic drivers in the world. And Mario goes, I'd love to. And so we put Mario's on there, and also did really well. And we tell our story on the box about how we grew up with these guys and, knew them, and how we raced cars as kids, and pictures of our race cars on the box when we were 10, 12, 14 years old. And so that started the single barrel, limited allocation, cask strength race car series. But then people would call and say, I need that bourbon. I wear this hat. And I swear, since other than when Scott signed Taylor Swift at 14 years old and started his record label, I never get more response to something except when I'm wearing this hat. People like, bourbon? What's that bourbon? I need to know that bourbon. And they show me pictures of their bourbon collection, whether that's like 2 bottles above the bed from the Apple store worker, or it's like this huge, beautiful cave of bourbons. Everybody wanted it. But I felt bad when, the kid at the Apple store says, where can I get it? I said, well, it's down the street, but it's $299. And I see the look on his face. So I went to Kylie, who's my production manager, and I said, we need an affordable bourbon for these people. We're winning awards. They're getting recognition. The juice is starting to be seen as good juice. And so that's when we decided to do our small batch. And we thought, we're all about Nashville. Let's put gold-plated Skyline of Nashville on the bottle and put it out at, $39, $40. And I just went into a liquor store next to my condo downtown and walked in. I said, where's those 14 bottles that were up here the other day? She said, they sold. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's super cool. I said, but you're charging $55. She said, we're downtown. But so it's selling. Proof awards, we just got 90s and 100 on that. We're super thrilled. And on the race car bourbon itself, and I'll end this in a moment, that was the Mario Andretti bottle that we submitted to the Ascot Awards, which garnered a phone call from Fred Minnick going, who are you? And I'm like, well, who are you? You're calling me. He goes, your bourbon just got top 25 out of 1,200 entries and got a double platinum in my Ascot Awards. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, I've never heard of you. I said, well, I've never heard of you either. And he said, well, I want to pick a barrel.
Knock that ego down a little bit, huh?
Yeah. We had a good time. I really liked it.
Fred's a good dude.
Yeah. And I finally had to ask him after he had me on stage here with some of our super cool people. Like, I was so honored to be on stage, at Greenbriers, Nelson Greenbriers and stuff. And, like, I'm looking around going, wow, these guys are like real. And I'm up on stage with them. And and I said, by the way, how many judges were there? And he goes, 52 blind tasting. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Uh-huh. So then I said, now we got to follow it up. And then for the proof awards to come out this last month, and we got 100 there, and other high ratings. It's neat to be in that world, and it's neat to be with you guys. Like I said, you guys take this seriously, and so do we. But we're the newcomers, and we're just grateful, that we do what we do. And I'm going to turn over to Devin because we brought her on the past few years, and she's taught us so much as well. And really excited about the stuff that's going to start coming out in the bottles that she's doing. So anyway, I'll stop talking now because you probably lost half your viewers.
Not at all. I think we just got a good subsidy of who you are and where you come from in this parts of the company. So that's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, so a little bit about myself. I'm from Kentucky originally. I was actually a tattoo artist several years ago. I knew nothing about the spirits industry. I had no interest in it, so I thought. And, just like a typical broke artist, I needed a second job. So I picked up a second job bartending and still needed another job. So I picked up a third job as a temporary employee on the bottling line at Woodford Reserve. And I didn't know what to expect when I went in. I just thought it would be just like a regular factory job. I had never been to a distillery before. And I fell in love with it. I just thought it was the neatest process and everything, just walking through the distillery on the still floor. And so I was kind of at a point in my life where I knew that I needed to make a decision on a career and really pursue it. And I knew that if I busted my ass there, that I could make it happen. So I got on full time there, and I led their personal selection program for a little while. And then I moved into the distillery I was the first female distillery operator that they had there, actually, which I was surprised until I went in there and realized that most of the gentlemen had been there for probably like 18, 20 years. So I'm not surprised. They didn't have a lot of turnover in the distillery, which is always a good sign. So I worked as a distiller there for a little while, and then I wanted to learn a little bit more about the industry and just how it works. I think that it's great, knowing that you make a great product, and you have to be able to sell it too, obviously. And I knew that I wasn't going to learn that side of the industry just where I was with Brown-Forman. So I took a chance and left the distilling for a little while and went to Total Wine and worked as a spirits manager for Total Wine. And that was really interesting just to learn the whole retail side as far as working with distributors and things like that. And I got sent down to West Palm Beach to work in their training store. And while I was there, a very small distillery was starting up in Miami. It's called Tropical Distillers. It's in Alapata, which, if you don't know where that is, I always tell people don't look for it. It's not the nice part of Miami, but Tropical Distillers is a great facility, but that's all that's there, unless if you like Cuban food. And I remember walking in, and it was just a big empty warehouse, completely empty. But the owner at the time, he was telling me all the plans that he had for it and all these different things. And I knew that I was dying to get back into a distillery. And I know that in Florida, there's not a lot of distilleries, really. It's not like, the thing like it is in Kentucky and in Tennessee. So I was willing to take a chance, and I hopped on board with them and helped them start up their distillery. I worked a lot with just getting a lot of the equipment put in place and construction and things like that. They still do multiple different spirits, but the main business for them down there was the liqueurs. So I made the Cuban espresso liqueur for them and the lychee liqueur. And they had deals with Hard Rock, I think, and Carnival Cruise Line. So the liqueurs were really a big thing. And that was really interesting for me because, working at Woodford, I'm not really sure why, but starting at a bourbon distillery, I was kind of jaded thinking that bourbon is all spirits. And, working at a distillery in Florida where the primary spirit is liqueurs and people have much more interest in vodka and rum than whiskey, it was really interesting. So it was a humbling experience, and I got to better well-verse myself with the spirits industry in general. But after that, just while working there, I knew that, this is what I want to do. Like, this is my passion, it's my calling. And if you have a passion in the calling, I think that you have to just follow where it makes sense. I tell people all the time, if you want to be an actress, probably make it work in Idaho, but you'd have better luck in California. So I knew that eventually I'd either return to Kentucky or I was open to Tennessee because of the whiskey trail. So I had my eyes open. I had interviewed at a few different places, and then I saw Big Machine pop up, and I did my research. I saw that they had the different locations and things like that. I was able to come up here to Linville and meet the team, meet Mark and Kylie and the team here. And I remember it was like the first time I had felt the same feeling that I felt when I first walked into the still floor at Woodford. I mean, I loved it. There's so much potential here. It's great because it's not a teeny tiny spot, but it's small enough to where it's truly craft. We touch every single thing we do, just like the race car bottles Mark was talking about. We hand fill, hand label. Haley, my head distiller, hand writes on every single one. So there's just so much promise out here. And I was thrilled to hop on board with it. So that is how I joined the Big Machine team.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I have so many more damn questions. It's not even funny.
And I love how you are very it must be a very well-rounded person. You've done all the things.
I try. It did not take me very long to learn that this industry it's difficult. It's competitive. There are so many different facets to it every single one is so damn complicated, and there's roadblocks everywhere and obstacles everywhere. So I feel like it's just been the best thing to do to try and immerse myself in as much of it as I can. So I mean, I certainly have a ton more to learn, but that's been a great experience with Big Machine too, is because, nobody wears one hat here. So I've been able to still continue learning and all the different, facets of it.
Well, it's kind of amazing where you went from tattooing to now a master distiller, a head distiller, whatever you want to perceive it in the culture of it. You run a distillery and you produce a phenomenal product, which I'm drinking currently right now, and I'm really enjoying this a lot.
And by the way, for all your viewers, if you're seeing this, yes, I'm drinking an old fashioned. I drink so much straight bourbon all week long that cast strength right out of the barrel, that to just enjoy a little bit of softness. Yeah. So don't run away because I'm doing this.
Well, I mean, no, I've actually just got, like, I started getting into cocktails this year. Like, I really never did. Like, the idea of it was always just like, no, not 2025. Oh God, it is 2025.
Okay.
2024.
Yeah, it is.
Jesus. But no, like, I just got into it because, like, my thing was always like, well, I don't care about the sweetness. I want to get to the alcohol that's in it. But I will agree with you that, the more you try and the more you do, and it's interesting to see the different bourbons that you can have go with it, and it can change the flavor, and it can change the way that you approach a cocktail. So I've been a little bit better with it. So I do understand that if after a good long time of just drinking straight up, let's have a little bit of something else in there. But I can only have like one or two of them, because then I'm like, just give me fucking.
Well, thanks for not kicking me off, Martin. At least
No.
You can drink it however you want.
I think Adrian, you drank a cocktail in here before, didn't you?
On the show?
I'm pretty sure she has. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our first episodes, you made one.
Yeah.
Beforehand, and then you just drank it really fast.
That espresso one that I made was really good. That was a really good cocktail.
That was a good one. But yeah. No, that's awesome.
People say it's sacrilege that I put my race car bottle into a bourbon, into an old fashioned.
No, God, no. I put all sorts of stuff in old fashions before that I probably shouldn't. But that's basically.
I'm not even going to say what I just used recently for.
That's the only good thing it's for. Sorry. That
was good. That was good.
Sorry.
Hey, you guys can trash. We cannot. We are Switzerland. We appreciate it.
I've got Buffalo Trace, or I've got whatever Blanton's back there, but that is probably the only way I drink it. Devin, do you ever still tattoo?
I have not in a couple years. I still have all my equipment, but
nice.
No, for a little while I did it for fun, but mostly just family, friends, myself. Mostly all my tattoos I did on myself. I had to when I was an apprentice. So if I ever feel like I want to get a tattoo, but I don't really particularly feel like paying for it, then I'll just suck it up and tattoo it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just thinking, I was like, how cool would it be to get a tattoo from someone who also distills whiskey?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Adrian, so I can take any reservations and my fee on top.
Yeah, we might need to put together like a distillery flash sheet of like a pot still and a barrel, and we can do a tattoo day.
That, Devin. We can upsell the tours now with you. Master distiller Devin Walden. Putting a little
I'm sorry, Devin.
Still on your neck.
We might need a different permit for that, but
maybe a little one.
Yeah. Well, Adrian, you have been wanting your first tattoo, so
I know I don't have any tattoos. I would like to get a tattoo. I just
the starfish right on your eye.
I need to break the ice on that. I think once I get one, then I'll be fine. But
hey, you just need to go full on Jelly Roll Post Malone. The face is go for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Join a gang.
I'm trying to figure out any way I can to get kicked off this podcast.
No, it's not. Hey, listen, if I have
to do something pretty
I told Adrian to get tattoos on her face.
You said so much worse here. You're fine.
Yeah, if Martin hasn't gotten kicked off, you're not getting.
You're fine.
And I've only sent the F word once.
Yeah, I've been edited multiple times on the show, or censored multiple times on this show, so you're fine. So
I think I've been censored more than you, to be honest.
And that is crazy considering.
Well, I gotta say, I love doing these things. You guys are the coolest, and other people shouldn't.
Thank you.
That, but this is fun.
That. Yeah,
but they're all unique too. It is fun to the different ways that you guys all approach it. I mean, I was between two cowboys last week, and I'm going, okay, this is unique.
Yeah, because I've never been between two cowboys. Like, ever.
You know, that. I think my wife gave me the same look.
See what I mean?
Martin, you
I
have.
didn't
You just
use
don't
the word
remember.
fuck.
I just don't remember. It was
The word fuck did not come up.
Yeah, I think that's Adrian's first tattoo. I've never been between two cowboys.
Yes. Yeah.
Devin, please get
That's
that
pretty
drawn
awesome.
up and I'll
That's
pay
pretty
for
awesome.
it.
Yeah, we just need a whiskey bottle and two cowboy hats. I think people they'll either get it or they won't.
That's much cleaner.
I think I have a title for the show. Even how about
Between
that?
two cowboys.
Between two cowboys.
We'll get some really weird hits on that one.
Oh man,
this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
I'm the only country boy here. This is terrible.
Yeah, he's right.
I was going to make a joke. I won't go that far. Never mind.
I don't give a fuck. You can say whatever.
Yeah. But I think we have questions.
Yeah. So Devin, I do have another question.
I was going to say, who's up?
Yeah.
I forgot.
I'm glad I can
choose to use 3 different corns.
Say that again.
So why was there a choice by using 3 different heirloom corns, red, white, and blue?
Yeah. So that's a super cool question. So down the road from us, about 5 miles, is this guy who grows corn, and their family's been doing it for over 100 years. And we were looking for, different things to be unique. And it was before I was on board, because I came in, like I said, took it over in 2017. He started the distillery in 2011, a guy named Clay Cutler, who really was a tinkerer and a craftsman and proved to be quite a good distiller. And there was this idea to come and do red, white, and blue corn. And I think those are the Mexican colors. Oh, no, U.S. That's right, red, white, and blue. So my wife did not like that one.
They're also Puerto Rican colors.
There you go. Yeah. So he was experimenting with the different corn varietals, and I was walking by the still one day, and I dipped my finger in, and I went, "Oh my God, what is this? This is great." So, well, that's red corn bourbon. I said, "Give me a glass of this or a jar of this to take home." And I'm like, isn't there something like called White Dog, like before he even touches the still or the barrel? And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Maybe one day we'll do this, and so let's see what happens when it hits the oak." And so I just really started following the different colors of corn and what they really brought. The blue corn is a little more sophisticated. And I don't want to say it's like, from a single malt Scotch going down to an Islay or Lowland kind of peatiness, but it is that sort of different palate, where people are going to respect more of the complexity, a little less of the sugars and stuff that comes through. The red corn is a people pleaser, and it's got this, I'm calling it a maltiness, but it's really the corn, but it's like a breakfast cereal kind of thing. And some people kind of, snub their nose at that, but no way, it's super cool. And it's kind of like a Jimmy Red, and or it is Jimmy Red. And so the white has its own wonderful blend between the blue and the red. And the red is when that's what we put in one of the Mario Andretti bottles in 2023. And that's what won that huge award, the double platinum from Ascot. And here's a little funny side story. And, I tell this, maybe I shouldn't, but Fred goes, "Hey dude, I want to, do a barrel pick with you." And I'm like, super cool. I said, "Kylie, Fred Minnick wants to do a barrel pick," or vice versa. She told me. And I said, "Great." We had just come back from a trip, and Kylie had just come back from Scotland, and she was still hungover and blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Send him this blue corn and this, and that and the other," or whatever. She sent it off to him. She calls me and she goes, "Fred didn't like any of the barrels." I'm like, "That's awesome." She goes, "What?" And I said, "So this guy really pays attention." I'm like, how, arrogant of me. I'd known of the Ascots being cool, but I just didn't know a lot about him because I'm new to this. And so I called him up and talked to him. And I said, "I'm going to send you some of my favorites, see what you think." And so I guess he was in Hollywood and he was on the set. And his guy, Danny, walks up and goes, "Hey, man, I got 3 more barrel picks from Big Machine." He goes, "Oh, Lord." And he goes, "Let me taste." And he goes, "Oh, my God, this is amazing." He goes, "Let me taste the next one." He goes, "All 3 of these are awesome." And I told him, I said, "Well, those are the red corns. And those are really wonderful. It's just a unique thing that brings I don't know. It's just a flavor that I love. And there's still a lot of nuances in there that you get, but the red corn it's great. So now what we do, the small batch is purely a blend of the white and blue corns. As I decide what they are, Devin and I sit down, and I still make the final picks with Kylie, but Devin and I talk and back and forth, and we compare notes and grow and learn from each other, and then we do anywhere from 3 to 8 barrels goes into the small batch. And I said, now we're going to do in between the race car series and the small batch, probably beginning of Q2, we're going to launch a Borchetta Bourbon Reserve. It's going to be a red corn reserve. And so that's going to be like an $80 price point or $70 price point, and it's going to be 100% red corn. And we're so excited about that. And look at that. I've got my own. Yeah. So this is the regular small batch right now. But yeah, so the red corn will be a blend, and it'll be at 100 proof. Don't know that we'll do a bottled and bond, label on it, but it will be 100 proof. And we're super excited about that as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have so many more questions based off that alone. Just the heirlooms and the process of the heirlooms and what type. I mean, you already answered what type the red corn was, but what type is the white corn and what type is blue corn?
I'm going to let Devin go there. She goes down and sees Jeremy on a reg.
I was just trying to look it up because hold on, I just asked him the other day about the blue corn. So the white corn, I'm not sure that he uses anything special for that. The blue corn,
but it is all heirloom, non-GMO, right?
Yes, blue Claridge. I'm probably not saying that right. It's actually based out of, from what he said to me, Ohio, but the seeds for all of them have been in his family, like Mark said, over 100 years. Their farm is nearly a 2-century farm. So even though they're using Jimmy Red and the blue and the white that some other, some varietals that some other distilleries may use, since they've been, in Linville and on this farm for that long, I mean, it has its own, terroir, as they say. So, I mean, it's very, very unique, very special. How he does it is very hand-picked. I mean, him and his kids, they go through with tweezers and they'll pick out if there's like getting white corn and the blue corn. So it's stone milled on original stone mills from, I think he said the oldest one he has. Yeah, I think the oldest one he has, though, is like almost 1800s. So, I mean, it's just a ton of rich history there.
Well, that's fucking great. I'm coming out sometime and visiting because I want to know more a lot sooner rather than later, probably. So
yeah, please do.
And ski, and then you come over here and you can visit the distillery.
You can take the house. I don't care. You just gotta watch the dog.
No dogs. No dogs. I care for nobody at this stage of life.
Smart. It's smart.
He also has an elk farm in the back, so you have to take care of that as well. So.
Lord, well, is elk good eating?
It's probably one of the best meat you can actually eat. It tastes exactly like buffalo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, just if you can kill it and, do all the stuff to it, then I'll just
done.
Yeah, you're asking the right dude.
Yeah, for real. That's no joke. He's for real.
I may run a nonprofit that takes veterans hunting and fishing around the world for free. So
he literally did a podcast from like his camper while hunting. So
yes, I forgot about that.
That's true.
Yeah. So he's the right guy to ask. So I know we've I know Adrian, you're already got to try this. I tried it as well. Before like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, before I got sick, because I'm not really drinking right now because I never really drink whenever I'm sick for some reason. But it's like it's my time to not drink. You know what I mean? Like I gotta take a break sometime. Exactly. This is my dry time. But I know Brian is. So I don't know, Brian, if you wanted to talk a little about what you're getting notes wise and everything, and then obviously Mark, Devin, if you guys kind of want to go into what we have in our possession. And again, guys, we are drinking the Borchetta bourbon, small batch, Borchetta.
Borchetta is the way they say it for the bourbon.
Borchetta
is the way you say it originally from Italy.
There you go.
Si, senor.
So yeah. So Brian, if you want to kind of go on what you're getting.
I mean, the nose is very light. I'm really enjoying the nose. It's opening up to a kind of symphony of like a fruit palette, almost. Like you walk into a room and you're getting that. So that's what I'm actually getting off of it. More of the apples, plums, pears, peaches that you would get off of that. A little bit of a higher acidic, like pineapple as well, just right off the nose. And then really like a cinnamon complexity at the almost back end of the nose. But it's
to bring the cinnamon in because I get that from depending on which blend you have.
Yeah. So
I can't smell anything right now.
I would love to tell you, but it doesn't say it on.
I was thinking like the same thing. Can I smell?
Yeah.
I definitely get cinnamon a lot in ours too. And on the back of your all's bottles, it says there should be a lot. And I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of hard to tell. You have to shine a light up to it. But depending on what letter it says, it probably says W on yours.
Yeah,
it does say W. Yeah.
Okay, so that means that white corn barrels went into that.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Also, can I give a shout out to you guys and anybody else who uses synthetic corks? Everyone should use these. Like honestly, I love a good old fashioned cork on something. I love a good old fashioned cork on something, but let's face it, inevitably they can break down, and they end up in the bottle. And I get the nostalgia of it, but I do like synthetic corks a lot more. So shout outs.
I've had enough nostalgia opening bottles of wine from 1800s.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had to do
the palate.
old,
yeah. Martin, the palate on this is kind of fun though. I'm getting cinnamon toast crunch right off the bat, and then like a honeycomb too. Like
can I drink out of the bottle on your podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Your bottle, so sure.
Chugs are allowed.
Chugs are definitely allowed. I did it on the last one actually when we were talking to Neely family. I think I chugged one of their Hidden Barn things.
You did. You did.
Well, and again, what we did, you kind of hit on something right away, Brian, which is that you said it's light, and that was kind of where this was going as the first release after the single barrel cask strength, which are my favorite barrels, that go into that. And this was to be an easier drink, at a more affordable price. And the fact that we can go into the proof awards and still get high 90s out of it is super cool.
I can see why you got that though, because of the complexity I'm actually getting off of it. It's just not one flavor note.
That's where it's going to go. It's light,
but
then there's so much going on. And that's what I do, when I blend. It's like I hear this and I see that and I smell this. I'm a really weird dude. I have a lot of sensory things, and both Devin and Kylie, I'm entertaining if nothing else when I taste, because they'll look at my notes and they just laugh their butts off because I say the weirdest things. But some of the things that I'll do is I'll say, I got, a cinnamon stick off of this, not a cinnamon ground from a jar, but it's actually cinnamon stick, and maybe it's a little bit moist, and they're like, what in that case? And then like 3-4 months later, I'll be tasting something, and I taste everything blind. That is my absolute rule. Don't you ever tell me what I'm tasting, because I want truth. And if I can't call that truth, then I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, because I don't know how to turn on the still. I would make Linville a big crater, or downtown Nashville, which would be even worse. But I want to know what I'm tasting at the time. And sometimes Kylie starts shaking her head, and I know it's a good day, because she says, you tasted this 4 months ago and you said something about cinnamon sticks. And I'm like, okay, cool. And again, that may not mean that it's good in other people's opinion, but at least I'm consistent and you know what you're getting.
No, 100%. It is very consistent. It's very relaxed on the palate, and it does have a very long finish.
Yes.
Which I'm really surprised about with a lower percentage bourbon at 80 proof.
It's kind of crazy to get that. There's always going to be cinnamon notes for me in bourbon. To me, you can go as basic as just saying that vanilla, cinnamon, oak, which always cracks me. But also, I want to say it cracks me up when people say oak as a tasting note, because it's like it's been fucking oak for a certain amount of time.
Great job.
But
you can taste oak.
Yeah, it's like cool. But what I really enjoy about like is the how pronounced the cinnamon note is, and I agree the cinnamon toast crunch. It's almost like if you would have told me that this was like Amarana finished or something like that, I would have maybe believed you, because I'm like, they've got such a cinnamon. I mean, it's such a pronounced cinnamon toast crunch note on that.
Gosh, Martin, literally, as I was tasting this and smelling this, so I also then have to get kind of past a little bit of the smoky meats part of this. You know,
Yeah.
It's almost like a salami smoky meatness and a weirdness that I always say is a little bit of pumpkin, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" There's a little bit of raw pumpkin. And I think I'm nuts, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I get a little bit of that. But then you get into the complexities that you're talking about, and then you get that cinnamon and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's super cool.
Yeah, it's very.
I'm getting actually papaya off the back end when you eat it, like cooked papaya.
Well, I've been drinking my thing, so I'm not getting papaya.
Yeah, that's not going to happen right now.
You're gonna mix it up with the orange.
But I'm starting to slur my words, so that's probably a good sign, right?
That's great.
Yes.
Let's fucking do it.
Having a blast.
Is papaya the fruit that can give you diarrhea? Because I think I got that once from it. I don't remember.
I mean, if you eat too much, yes.
I had a lot of it. Like I ate way too much. I had a smoothie.
It's a diuretic, so
there you go.
Mystery solved.
There you go.
I have not done that. I was a triathlete doing Ironmans. I had enough diuretics from just trying to do long runs.
Oh, jeez.
Any of that.
I know
that sounds like a shitstorm.
Besides that answer, literally and figuratively.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take over this conversation.
Adrian's like, I need to steer this in another direction.
Martin brought up poop again.
Okay, well, I want to say something first. You both Devin and Mark said words that are kind of trigger words for Martin and I. And Martin's trigger word is moist.
Yeah, you said moist. It's one of those words that makes me feel weird.
If you see us laugh, like smiling really big or something when you're saying something, there's probably a story behind it.
Or a hidden joke, inside joke.
Okay, moist, I want to hear more about. Okay.
Well, I think
that's one of my favorite subjects.
Like the word, but,
I just can't handle the moistness of most conversations.
I like the other forms of that word.
Sorry,
you
Devin.
guys are fun. This is the most fun I've had. I got to tell you.
Okay, good. So the other word was terroir, and I'm not. Oh, it's no shade, trust me, but like I am the novice of the group clearly, and
not anymore.
Anyway, I don't really give great tasting notes at all. That's why I'm really commented. I enjoyed the bourbon; it was very good. It was very corn forward for me. But other than that, I'm not good at giving notes, at least not yet. But like one of the earlier episodes that we did, they were talking about that, and it turned into this whole thing. Adrian didn't know what terroir was and all this stuff. So you said that, and I kind of giggled because it's always, since then, it's come up other times, and I just laugh every time because now I know what it is.
I said that about the Saint Julien, didn't I? And I know Devin brought it up with Jeremy.
I think because within whiskey it's almost a little controversial with terroir because of because if you look at because I think we did it because we were talking about someone who did stuff with wine, and there's obviously a lot of terroir and there's a lot of provenance when it comes to wine.
Yeah, well, it was the Rolling Fork guys.
That's right. It was the rum guys. Yeah, that's right.
He went and did something in France somewhere, did something. I don't know.
She's the one with the memory. We just sit here and look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say pretty. We just look.
Yeah.
Look. We're just here.
Yeah. Well, Byron is pretty. Brian, you're close.
Yeah. You're the other twin.
Dumbass needs to lead.
So to get this going, and apologies if you already spoke about this and I missed it, but we're looking into your distilling company a little bit, trying to see when the business started. For us, there was a little bit of conflicting information. One place it looked like 16 years, another place it looked like maybe 10. So I would say is if you could confirm, and if it's 10 years, are you going to have a celebration, and can we be invited?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are invited anytime you want to come. I'm not paying your airfare, but we'd love to have you guys.
We're not far.
I'm driving. I'm not flying.
Two of them aren't far. Fuck you.
We're like 4 hours from you.
I'm getting in the car.
I love it. And then, you ain't coming from Victorville, Martin, but, it would be super cool. also, by the way, not even just in Nash, but we have a little surprise launch this year for our race car bourbon.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know. I said
If
probably.
you say it's at Pikes Peak, I'm going to be there.
Oh no, but my wife and I climbed Pikes Peak 3 years ago.
Nice.
And
Is
you
it
know,
in
the
Indy?
answers.
Is it
the
going to be in
answers.
Indy?
Yes.
Is your release going to be there? I could be there. I
you
kissed
guys,
the bricks.
You guys have to come and kiss the bricks with us and have some fun and chill. We're going to work. Well, I don't want to reveal too much. Let's just say we're going to change.
We can cut this out, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to switch gears, and we're not going to release this year with the Nashville race. We're going to release with the Indy 500.
Oh, that's cool. Heck yeah.
So we're so excited about this,
man.
Yeah, we're so excited about this year's release of the race car series, because we now are going to do every year. And for the listeners, we'll never do more than 2,000 bottles a year of the race car. Now, I picked the barrels, and there's 14 to 18 barrels a year that go into the race car series, because it's cast strength and it's whatever the Angels leave behind. Mm-hmm. We don't put a drop of water. I don't blend that. And there's 15-gallon, barrels there. I have one that was 148 proof. And it tasted so good. They said, hey, that 150 proof you did? I said, I've never done that. They said, no, you picked 150 proof. And I said, blind taste me on this. And they put 3 in front of me, and I said, these are like, okay, I'm going to say this one's like 124. And they said, 125. I'm like, all right, this one might be a little more like a 132. They said, yep, 132. And I said, and this one's probably the same, like a 132. And they said, no, it's 148.8. I said, you're kidding me. It was so smooth. So anyway, that was a little aside. But I pick all these different barrels. The thing that's unique every year is not the flavor profile, because, again, 14 to 18 different unique barrels going in every year. What's unique is the identification. So like, Blanton's has their different series of the racehorse, which is super cool. We have a different car every year and a different driver featured, and our story is super cool. So this year, again, we're super excited about the packaging that we're doing and what it's going to be about. And you guys are 100% invited. Come see me at the Indy 500. We'll hook you up. You can't be in the pagoda with us because that's a little rough. But we can kiss the bricks together. We're going to be doing maybe the whole week worth of launch activities up there, and would love to have you guys there with us.
Okay. That's awesome.
Fantastic. I have a few friends who race, so I'll just reach out to them and I'll just stay in their pets.
Who's that?
I'm not giving away those names during a recording.
Well,
I will talk to you after this is done.
You have the ability to edit. I don't.
That is also true. I am a retard, and Joe does the editing, so I don't want to give him too much work right now. But once we're done,
you gotta tell me who you know, because I know every I know more than half the drivers on the grid.
Oh no, I guarantee you know them. I just don't want to do it right now because that means Joe has to edit more.
I hear you. Well, you gotta. Okay, send me your number or something, and
I'll just tell you when the recording's done.
Oh, okay, cool, super cool.
Yeah.
And in the backstage area. So now, we talked a lot of whiskey. Like we talk a lot of whiskey on the show, and I love it. I love getting nerdy, but we do have like a little break in the specific whiskey questions, at least. And I'm going to set it up, and Brian, you're going to ask it, but I do have to set it up because that's sort of what we do. So when we first took over Bourbon with Friends, we haven't always been the original host of the show, but when we took over this show, we decided to come up with some kind of question that was kind of off the wall. Just to kind of throw things off a little bit.
Good, I love that.
So basically what happened is the day before we had our very first recording, Adrian was pumping her gas at the gas station and was accosted by a squirrel. It was holding a gun. It stole her car, drove it to Kentucky, dropped the car, and then ended up in Tijuana. I don't know how all that happened, but it was insane. Then none of that is.
The exact same thing happened to me. That's correct, so right? Weird.
It might have been probably the same squirrel. He's just
You're
out
probably
there.
Drinking this.
Yeah.
I'm a shameless marketer, by the way.
But none of that is true. Basically, we don't even know why we came up with this question. So basically, we ask a question that's related to a squirrel. It could be anything. It's just to kind of have fun with it. We always get very interesting answers, but I change the story every single time. We don't even know what the original reason why we picked this is at this point because I've told so many lies. So go ahead, Brian, ask your question.
Yeah, no, he's right. We have no idea why this is, but this is going to be for both of you guys. So Devin, Mark, see what answers you guys come up with this. Devin, I'm not really sure how much into racing you are, but we can go into scooters if that works or something.
Scooters?
There's racing scooters out there.
Racing, but I'm definitely more into racing than scooters. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I know. I was like,
you'd be surprised. Those things are fucking nuts.
You should have said tattoos. Like, hello.
The speed of tattoo guns? That's just.
But that's your comfort zone, Adrian. We got to get Devin out of her comfort zone.
That's true. Yeah.
All right.
The squirrel will be enough. Trust me.
No, it would seem.
If a squirrel was able to drive a race car, what type of race car would it be, and how would its tail fit in the car?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you asked her that.
See?
Oh no, this is for both of you.
Oh yeah, you get this question too.
Now you get it from me.
Take a chug again, Mark.
Yeah, let me down this. Here, let me go straight from the race car bottle now.
There you go.
So if a squirrel is going to drive a car, what kind of car would it be?
Yeah. And how would its tail fit in the car?
This is good. Oh my God. Who makes this?
Some company.
Someone. You know.
I don't know. So you asked me a question like that, I'm probably going to say like a teddy buggy on Mario Kart.
Oh, okay. See, that makes sense.
See, that still works.
That's a good question. That's a good answer.
I love that.
That's a really good answer.
I would have asked you what kind of tattoo a squirrel would get. That's what I would have asked.
Well, we didn't know that prior to that. I'm getting a squirrel
tattoo.
The amount of
interviews I looked at both of you, not once did it say that you were a tattoo artist in any other interview.
Otherwise, we would have asked that question.
Oh, there would have been a
I'm never
question
telling
about
anyone ever again.
It's a long-winded story, so I usually leave it out.
No, it's cool.
I'm glad you didn't.
By the way,
Mark.
Barrel 749 AJ Foyt 2024. This shit is good. Whoever picked this, Devin has to pick this one, not me.
Devin, great job.
That's good.
Great job.
All right.
Devin.
Yeah.
Do I really have to answer that question, Brian?
Oh, you do.
This must have come from Byron.
Yeah.
That dick.
All right. That dick. If a squirrel were to drive a race car, what car would it be and how would his tail fit in there? See, my mind always goes to IndyCar, but it wouldn't be that because there's no way he'd get those other two legs. That's a tight seat. Okay, NASCAR has Adrian. Poor Adrian. She's like, what am I getting into?
She's heard worse.
She's way worse than this.
What the hell? Okay, a race car from a squirrel. Oh my God. I didn't hear this part on your podcast that I listened to.
You have to go through the whole
podcast.
It's okay. I don't listen to them either.
Yeah, I haven't actually ever listened to an episode.
Not the whole thing.
Pay for everything. I do it all.
I just show up.
Not through the whole thing.
Squirrel would drive a race car. Shit. It would be a pedal car because squirrels are nutso. So it'd be like, and then the tail would be hanging out the back to help it steer.
Like a rudder almost. Yeah.
It's like a leopard has a really long tail. That's how a leopard can turn so quickly because of the ballast that comes from a leopard. So that's what it would be, a pedal car with the tail hanging out as the ballast at like 0.3 miles an hour to help it navigate the course.
0.3 miles an hour.
Let me drink some more of this straight stuff.
Go
ahead, Adrian.
You were saying that the name AJ Foyt about that bottle. So do each of your race car bottles have a driver associated to them? Did I miss that from earlier?
You missed it. You were tuned out because I just drone on and you're like, when is this guy going to stop fucking talking? So yeah, every year, what makes this unique isn't the barrels because I've got 8-year-old barrels, 4-year-old barrels, 6-year-old barrels, 9-year-old barrels that are coming here, 15s, 53s. And what makes these unique from year to year is the car that goes on top. So this one is AJ Foyt. And if I had the box here, but I don't at the moment because they got moved to my office this morning, oddly enough. So with AJ Foyt, I mean, I've got a picture in the box of me and AJ when I was 12 years old at Ontario Motor Speedway. He had just won the race, and there's AJ and myself in the winner's circle together, with a photo. And we're good friends with his sons, Larry and Anthony. So we talk about the legacy of AJ and what a motherfucking badass he was. He went to Le Mans, which is one of the, scariest tracks, out there for some drivers or for a lot of drivers. He goes there in 1967. He goes, that ain't nothing but a little old country road. And the press was like, F you. Who the hell do you think you are? So he and Dan Gurney, with their own self-built American car, go out and win the race. And AJ is just a badass. And then he's in the winner's circle at Texas Motor Speedway. And I don't know, it had to be right around 2000, 2001. And another driver in there starts mouthing off to him. And AJ just, boom, smacks the guy to the ground. So we talk about a lot of that stuff on our boxes, on our labels. We talk about the history of racing, our love of spirits, and how we blend what we love to do in life, and we feel we're good at them. One of the most successful record labels in the world that my brother, made. These great bourbons that we make. We're championship race car drivers, both of us. So, yeah. So yes, you missed that. So each year,
sorry.
I don't care. The only thing that's, and I don't know why your cameras are backwards. I keep moving left to right to try to figure out how to navigate. It's not you, but in this app that we're in. So anyway, we each year, what makes it unique is the different race car and or driver that is attached. So like I said, the very first year was the first winner of the Indy 500 in 1911, because again, this photo on the bottle is Indy cars in 1911 racing here in Nashville at the Fairgrounds Speedway. So that was the first year we did. And that car looks like an old roadster, car, because that was it. And then each year it's a different car that we do and a different driver.
See, that's cool. I like that.
It is cool. I just am familiar with that name, and I almost always watch the Indy 500. I've been a couple times. I've kissed the brick. So that's a very cool, it's a very cool thing you got.
Well, let me see if I can get AJ to sign a bottle for you, Adrian.
Oh my God. That would be good.
That'd be awesome.
Oh my
So
gosh.
what years did you go to the 500?
Oh God. I was 15 the first time, which was 30 years ago.
Okay, so and 94 would have been the Penske year. They fucking crushed it. The Marlboro cars just owned that year with the Mercedes single rod, push rod motor. So okay,
yeah, that was, and then I think I went again. Gosh, it wasn't very long after that. So maybe within the next 5 years, I went again. I sat inside and then I sat on the outside.
Okay, well, those cars were crap with that part, but I didn't say that. Cut that out, Joe.
You hear that, Joe?
Yeah,
Mark,
I always like
103.50. You got to edit that out.
I just love the nostalgia of it, and Jim Neighbors was always singing "Back Home Again" in Indiana, like the whole deal. Like it's just
His last year of singing, I got to meet and hang and talk with him for a little bit.
Did you really? That's
awesome.
awesome.
Because he was getting sick, and it was hard for him to get over there from Honolulu. And he was just the nicest, sweetest man. And when he stopped singing it, it was just heartbreaking. Although the guy from the local hockey thing sings it now, and he's got a great voice. But it's a fun thing about tradition. And Florence Henderson used to sing "God Bless America" every year, and then she said, "They're not bringing me back next year, Mark." And I'm like, oh, yeah. But traditions change, and hopefully the milk will never change. And in the winner's circle.
Yep.
Yeah, lots of fun tradition there.
Not go too far down a rabbit hole.
Haven't we gone down every wrong rabbit hole already, Martin? Come on.
We've gone down a lot of holes. Let's go down another one. What is the kiss the bricks thing? I'm not familiar with it.
So there's bricks at the finish line at the Indianapolis 500 Speedway, and you can you get down on your hands and knees and you kiss the bricks when you win.
Oh, okay.
So what happened? Yeah, let me give you 30 seconds more on that. It's called the Brickyard because the original track, which is 2.5 miles long, this oval track is 2.5 miles. That's a big track. Yeah, it was made of brick. Literally, it was bricks. I guess 2.1 million bricks is the number. And so when they finally realized bricks are not going to hold up, they said, let's go to an asphalt, but let's preserve 3 feet of brick right at the start-finish line because Brickyard, a yard of bricks are what's left. And it's super cool. It comes from the outside. It goes across the track all the way down into the infield of the speedway. And what happened when NASCAR started driving there, I think it was 1994, Dale Jarrett won the race, and he went down and he kneeled down and he kissed the bricks. And so that became a tradition the last 30 years, kissing the bricks.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did a tour, and I visited the Hall of the
Hall of
museum
Fame.
there, Hall of Fame,
the Hall of Fame Museum.
And I got a picture of me kissing the bricks. Anyway.
Yeah, Martin, it would just be you on your knees primarily. It's fine.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know that was. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a euphemism for something.
No, you guys.
But I think we do have one final and our favorite question. To be fair.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I hope it's not about squirrels.
No, this one's not squirrels. This one's a little more heartfelt. I would say. So, Brian, do you want me to do it or?
No, I want Adrian to do this one. This seems appropriate.
It does seem appropriate. Adrian, take it away.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like Martin said, this is our most favorite question that we ask on here. While we do get a little wild on here sometimes, we are very sentimental folks. We love our friends, and we very much value the people in the whiskey community. So we like to ask everybody what your favorite memory is associated to whiskey. It could be anything. I mean, it could be from something to do with when you were a kid and remembering older adults in your family and something along those lines. It could be any spirit also. It doesn't have to be whiskey. So whoever wants to go first, we'd love to hear from both of you.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 Devin?
I don't know. It's I have so many good memories. It's been such an interesting last several years. I think probably my favorite, just off the top of my head, I don't want to hold this up too long, but I worked pretty closely with Elizabeth McCall at Woodford, and when she was the master taster, whenever I got the position in the distillery, she was so happy for me, and she was such a great support mentor for me. I remember finding her and talking to her about it, and she signed a bottle for me, and I still have it to this day, and it said, "Congratulations, can't wait to see you in the distillery." So cool. Something as simple as that, but yeah, there's been so many different little moments like that where, as competitive as this industry can be, like I said, there's so many great moments with support from people, mentors and friends. And so, yeah, that was a good moment for me.
Do you, and I don't mean to interrupt, Mark, your memory, but while I have you, Devin, do you feel like you've mentioned a couple times it's very competitive. Do you feel like being a woman has hindered that in any way?
I think that it could have. I mean, potentially. I think that I've had challenges, and I don't know that any of the challenges I've had would have been any different or lesser if I was a man. Honestly, I think it's just a competitive industry. I've definitely faced some, sexism, I'd say, but I don't think that it's anything specific to this industry. I think, unfortunately, it's something I could have experienced anywhere. So I've actually personally, even though I know that so many people have had negative experiences. For the most part, I've actually had a really positive experience with the community.
That's awesome.
I just always like to hear, you know, the female perspective for obvious reasons, I think.
What is that?
So what do you think, Mark? What's your memory? I want to hear this.
Couple things. One, I want to make sure you take out the part about open wide and boners and dicks. Please cut that out.
Yeah, we can.
I don't want that out there. We're all just having fun. Okay, so for me, the two, I'm going to go with one memory, but there's kind of two. One is when Mario Andretti was at our distillery a little over a year ago, and we were doing the launch, and he showed up for it. And he's standing out in front of his Indy car, and he opens up the box with the bourbon, and he just like like he's drinking it. It was super cool. It was really neat. I mean, for those of us in motorsports, I mean, he's, you know, he and AJ are the two top guys. That just, it doesn't get any better than that. So so that's really neat. And then the second one actually is when my wife drank one of the bourbons and said, "This is good." And I'm like, whew, because she was not my wife, probably even my fiance at the time. And it was really neat for her to appreciate what I do and who I am in that way. And that was really cool.
It's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, we get all sorts of answers to this question. And it just, again, the name of the podcast is Bourbon with Friends. And that's what we do, is learn about everybody's past and hear about all the memories that got us to this very point right here, that we're all sitting here talking about bourbon and talking about your company and hanging out. So yeah, no, thank you guys for that. Like I said, one day we need to make a coffee book of all these. I think that would actually be really cool. Like, of all the different memories all these different companies have had, I think that'd be actually kind of interesting.
Already started, Martin.
Oh, perfect. Well, here, dude.
Well, somebody's made one, and we're going to see it in a month or so, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The Whiskey Trail, Tennessee Whiskey Trail. That'll be interesting.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nice.
Oh, I was going to say, of this?
That's
How did they steal that from us?
I
This is
know.
copyright.
No, you just copyrighted it today.
Yeah.
How rude. No,
All right.
but no, again, you guys, it's super cool because this is the thing, and we've been making vodka, whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, moonshine, whatever. We don't find those podcasts out there, but it's really kind of neat to be exploring this bourbon world with you guys.
Yep.
We've done maybe half a dozen or more of these podcasts now, and it's everything from dads drinking bourbon to cowboys and bourbon and friends in bourbon, and you guys are just really into this, and I love that we're being accepted into it. We worked so hard to just put out a product that you guys will like, and that's our goal. And bringing in Devin, who lives this 24/7, and Kylie, my production manager, my VP of production, who lives this. They're better than I am at it. I'm just fortunate to have a good palate and have, kind of be at the number one seat to make the decisions, but then also to be validated when we get those hundreds and those double platinums. And so that these two will keep working for me and not go, "Oh, I can't wait till he retires," so that they respect what I do and that they're willing to work hard for the leadership that I provide. And, being invited on by you guys and stuff is super cool. We appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Adrian, Martin, all of us here at Bourbon with Friends, including Joe in the background, it couldn't be more of a pleasure and an honor to meet both you guys. Devin, I think I met you actually last year at the American Craft Spirit Association Awards.
You met Byron, I think. You didn't meet Byron.
Maybe Byron.
I don't think you met
Listeners,
you met the nice guy, not the dick.
What the hell are they talking
He had
about?
longer hair.
I was not at ACSA last year. I was at ACA when they were in
2
New
years
Orleans.
ago?
So that might have been it.
2 years ago, yeah.
Just tell them yes, Devin. We don't want him to cancel this podcast.
Yes.
It's not going to get canceled.
No way.
This is fun. It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I just know I met you at one of the events at one of the award ceremonies somewhere at some time.
Tell me, remember him.
Yeah, you don't need to. Just
I
honesty's
remember
the
his
best
squirrel.
policy.
I didn't see him, just a squirrel.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure how to answer that either now. All right, so I'm just going to end this right here on a positive note. Thank you so much, Devin.
Thank you guys so much.
Mark, it's a pleasure. It's an honor. And just remember, everybody, a bourbon with friends can change the world, y'all. Have a great day or night, no matter
Cheers,
where
everybody.
you're at.
Good night or good morning or wherever you guys are.
It was awesome.
Well, thank you all.
That's it for this episode of Bourbon with Friends. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a review to make it easier for others to find the show. You can also check us out on Instagram at BWF Podcast. Thanks for listening.